What's going on, everyone? Super weird time for a live stream, but we got Rulo in here. I don't know who you are, but welcome. Today we're going to be going over the basics, so welcome to Light Show 101. What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday. What a weird day for a live stream. And if you're up, happy Wednesday. But I probably missed you. It's really late out for everyone that normally shows up. Overland22, what's up? Yeah, I don't know all these new usernames over on this new platform. The quality on the stream that I'm looking at looks horrid. So hopefully it's a little bit better on your end. What the plans for today's live stream is I'm not sure. I want to go back to the basics. I want to attack X-Lights as if you are someone brand new wanting to get into this hobby field, because it's always around this time every single year that people start seeing videos of light shows or their friend is getting into it and they really want to get into this crazy hobby field. And that's been the goal with Light Show 101 since the inception, is let's make it easy for people to enter into this hobby field. And what I have not done a good job of is create videos, and that was the whole goal with starting Light Show 101. So today, this live stream, the purpose is to cut it up afterwards and upload some videos onto YouTube. So I'm finally doing what I've always said that I wanted to do, and this was the goal with switching over to YouTube. It catalogs the videos better, I can take them and chop them up a lot easier, and so here we are. So join, hang out for as long as you want. It's going to be very basic, very, very basic, and hopefully will help people in the future more than today's live stream. So there will probably be a few of us in here just chilling on the live stream, and if you have your drink of choice, cheers with me. And cheers, let's learn some light show stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to kind of do is treat it in sections as if these were going to be videos. So the first section we're going to go over today, or actually I'll just give you kind of the whole rundown. We're going to go over downloading X-Lights, your first look at X-Lights, the controllers tab, the layout tab, and then the sequencer tab. And hopefully I'm gonna have enough energy to fully go through how to import a pre-made sequence to a layout that we make today. And if we get the time, that section of it, I really want to talk about how you can take imported sequences and then edit them to make them look the best on your particular house. Because a lot of times, I need more upbeat music than this. A lot of times, when I'm making a sequence or another sequence maker is making a sequence, what will happen is they will sequence it so that it looks really good on their multiples of props. And it's most likely, unless you copied their layout to your house, that there's going to be different props on your layout than theirs. So how do we take what they've done and make it look the best for what we have? Hold on, it is later in the day than I normally do this, and it feels so off for it to be 7 o'clock here, and here we are freaking doing a live stream. Gold, is that going to be a good album? Let's listen. No, this is going to be chill. Yeah, that's super chill. I want something neon, cherry soda, those all sound albums. Candy Shop, that's a Christmassy one, isn't it? Yeah, that's a little bit better. Okay, I gotta find the right vibe in the background to be able to do this effectively. And for some reason, this is my screen, the Light Show 101 logo went away. I don't know what happened. So let's just hope that we don't have to switch back to that screen a lot. Okay, here we go. Let's go into the first section. So You have seen a crazy video on the internet of one of these light shows, and you're wondering how the heck do they do this? You've probably got to be a Disney level engineer or some super genius to figure this out. Not really. It's really pretty simple, and what I'm going to teach you today is what the software is that all these people are using to create these holiday light shows on their house. And that software is Xlights. You can go to xlights.org, and on the top right of the page there is a download button. You can click the download button and it will give you a download for either OS. It will actually take you to the App Store, or you can download it for Windows right here. And once you download it, you are going to get a little picture of a... Can I drag it over here? A little picture. How do I drag you over here? And when you download it, you will get a little picture of this nutcracker guy with a 64 in the background, because this is on a Windows 64 computer. Anyway, double click the icon that just appeared once you downloaded it, and Xlights will open up. It's trying to open up. That means it's time for a sip of drink. And Xlights. And this is Xlights. So this is our first look at Xlights, and it can be really overwhelming at first. But let me break it down into 3 main tabs. The first tab is the controllers tab, and you can find that tab right here. Oh, look, I've got a logo in the way. I could just turn off the logo, but there we go. So right here, you've got your controllers tab, and this tab is going to control all of your physical outputs. So your controllers in the yard, moving heads, anything that you need to send data to from the computer will be controlled in this window. The second tab here is the layout tab, and the layout tab is where you're going to create the visualizer for your show. You can actually upload a photo of your house and put all kinds of different lights over it, and then control those lights within the sequencer tab. And that brings us to the third tab, which is the sequencer tab. The sequencer tab is really where all the magic happens. This is where you take the layout that you just made and you can apply effects over it. Let me just create a brand new one so you get a quick little view of that. Yeah, let's do this. And this is the sequencer tab. In the sequencer tab, you can apply effects to all of your different props, like this rainbow effect, or we can add a single strand effect to make this arch looks like it's jumping from left to right. Now, within all of these different tabs, there's a lot to learn, and we're gonna dive right into it in these few videos. Man, it's weird also, like, if I am trying to, communicate something, and I feel like I messed it up, I want to go back and re-say it, because the intention for this live stream specifically is to cut some videos and make them short form videos afterwards for YouTube to upload. So if you hear me repeat something, it's not because I didn't think you heard it, it's so that I can go back and edit these videos later. Yeah, if anyone's still hanging out, say hi. I don't know who you are. But yeah, don't mean to ignore anybody that's on the stream. Sorry. I just figured I'd stream while I'm recording. It gives me a reason to actually, be upbeat and not take a million takes of every single video. So, in short, that's Xlights. We're gonna go a lot deeper into each one of these tabs, and the next video is going to be going over the controllers tab. So check that out. And here we are. Let's take a look at the controllers tab. The controllers tab is where you connect to everything in your show. The first thing that we need to do within Xlights is create a show folder. And a show folder is where all of your data is stored. Your images, your audio, your actual like house layout. And there are some rules that you should follow when creating a show folder. One of those first rules to follow when you're creating a show folder is organization. Show folders very quickly can have a ton of files inside of them, and it's really hard to find what you're looking for. So to start, what we're going to do is we're going to open up a new Explorer window, and we open... Oh gosh, where am I going? We're just gonna put this on the desktop. So I'm gonna go to my desktop, I'm gonna right click and select a new folder, and this is gonna be my new show folder for the light show that, oh gosh. Okay, you can go away. That was weird. So we're gonna create a new show folder, and inside this show folder is where everything's gonna be contained, but all I have right now is a picture of my house that I'm gonna put in there. Let me grab that. It is this one. It's cool. We're actually going to get to do a layout today on my parents' new house. So that will be fun. Once you've created your show folder, you click on Show Directory, or once you've created your show folder, in Show Directory right here under your Controllers tab, you have the option to either change permanently or change temporarily, and then it will tell you what file path it is currently looking at. So if I select change permanently, because this is going to be my permanent show folder, and then I'm going to navigate over to show folder and select folder. Folder chosen does not contain Xlite show folder files and is not empty. Are you sure you chose the right folder? Yeah, I'm sure I chose the right folder. Discard changes. It's not going to ask you any of this if that's a brand new. Okay, so now our show directory is selected on our show folder, and anything we do within Xlights will be affected, and anything that we do in Xlights will update in that show folder and be saved to that show folder. So let's talk about the Controllers tab. Controllers come in many different forms, many different manufacturers, but they all follow a pretty simple process of communication, which is via an IP address. So you can set that up within your controller, and that will be another video for another day, but you can select Add Ethernet, and then it will give you a brand new controller here, and the controller you can set the IP address to, whatever your IP address is for your controller. And now you can tell it I have 16 universes. I'm sorry, that's start universe. I have one universe. I can turn off auto size and select 16. You can also go in here and select the actual, where is it? The actual controller that this is. Why am I blinking out? I might, okay. Oh, right here, vendor. So you can actually select the vendor of the specific controller that you have. So let's say you have a Falcon controller, and then the model of the controller is an F16 V4, the newest one. So now it will autofill in how many universes you need based on eventually what you connect to this controller. And it will be pointed to that specific IP address. What are all my buttons? The Controllers tab, how do I say this? The Controllers tab you don't have to worry about too much when you're just getting into Xlights. The Controllers tab really comes into play when you actually get your hardware and are hooking up your hardware to the lights. So for right now, let's jump into the Layout tab where a lot of the magic happens. So right up here, switching from controllers to layout. Oh, that's really hard to see with the logo in there. We'll just make it small again. Whoops. So right here, we're switching from controllers to the layout tab, and then we'll make that big again. And this is the layout window. It is comprised of 3 basic windows, this large window here on the right, and then 2 smaller windows on the top and the bottom here. And we're going to really get to know these 3 windows in the next several minutes here. So the first thing that you need to create a layout is a house. So the first thing that you need to create a layout. Oh my gosh, I'm going to repeat this again. The first thing that you need to create a layout in Xlights is a picture of your house. And when you take a picture of your house, it's best to take the photo from wherever your crowd or your cars, whoever's gonna see your display, take a picture from that location. If there's a big tree in the way, you can get a little bit angled, but it's really best if you have a forward-facing shot. And I have a photo here of my parents' house. Here is the photo. Beautiful photo. It's a little bit grainy, and it's also from the real estate company when the house was sold. But hey, it's a great photo. Good job, real estate people. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my show folder that I created earlier, and that is desktop and show folder. And I've already dropped the image just in the root directory of the show folder here. And now I'm going to, in the layout tab, if you click on anything in this layout tab in these large windows, this bottom left window will show these options. And what you want to look for is background image, and click the little 3 dots and select the image file inside of your show folder. And now that will open up the image in the background of your right window of the layout tab here. Now, to navigate and move around in this window, it's best if you have a mouse with a scroll wheel. So to zoom in and out, you do scroll wheel up and down, and then to move around, click in the scroll wheel and then move your mouse along the table. I hope that was a good example. That's the best way to get around in the layout tab. So now that I have this house, let's start putting lights on it. There's a few guidelines that I like to follow, but this is really completely up to your imagination. You can do whatever you want when it comes to the layout of your house. What I like to do is first knock the brightness down a little bit so I can see the lights that I'm adding to the house. And you can do that in this bottom left window. If you select brightness, it is currently at 100. I'm going to put it at 20, and that just knocks the brightness down on that image a little bit more. Okay. The first thing that I want to add to my house is some outlines, and the way that we can add lights to this display is this top toolbar up here. And this top toolbar has a lot of different preset props that we can bring in. For instance, this one right here, it says create new single line. So if I single left click it, and then I click and hold where I want to start this line, I can drag down a line of lights down the edge of this house. And if I hold shift, it will actually snap to be 90 degrees, which is really good for the visualizer. Sometimes the effects and things, if it's not perfectly straight and you're trying to do a vertical or a horizontal, it will look a little bit weird. So where you can, hold shift. And what I'm going to do now is go through all of the outlines of this house. I highly, highly recommend outlines for your house. It is the one thing that adds the most bang for your buck. And on each one of these, I'm just creating a single line across the different eaves and sections that I want this on. I think this one would probably mount easiest on the top of the roof. And create another one. So every angle here, I'm creating a brand new single line. Single line. And this part I'm going to ridiculously speed up in the video. So if you're watching on the live stream, now is the time for me to talk to you. And no, my parents, I don't think they want a light show on their house. They had to go through a mega display on their house, and they loved it, but it is it's a lot of work. Like, having a small light show, it's fine. Having a huge light show, it becomes a logistical nightmare real quick. So I don't know what this Eve looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put another one here. It's probably not what it is, but that's what we're going to do. Okay. I'm also going to outline the garage. Time for a drink break. I think it's time for a drink break. So another thing that you can do as you are adding your outlines is change the pixel count of some of these lines just so that it looks more uniform. Eventually, you will find out the exact pixel count that you need for each outline, but in this creative stage, it's best to just get it looking close. So I can tell on these eaves right here, or these roof lines, these diagonal, I can tell on these diagonal roof lines that I want to add some more lights as my lights completely go out. That was strange. So I can tell on this diagonal that I need more lights because they're a lot more spaced out than this vertical line or than, this horizontal line. And the way that we can edit any single prop within the layout tab is selecting it on the right window here, or you can select it in this top left window, which is now a list of all of the single lines that we've created. And then once you're selected on a prop, then the bottom left window here will give you options to modify that prop. So you can see here I have nodes per string. I can up that to, let's say, 75, and now it creates a lot more depth or a lot more resolution, a lot more pixels on this line. You can actually do the math if you want and find out how long each roof section is and then divide that by your pixel spacing, but for what we're doing right now, to convince the wife or the family or whoever controls the money that you need a light show, this is the best way to do it. So I'm going to go through here and change all the pixel counts on here. Yeah, let's do it. And I'm going to take a sip too. Dude, who's hanging out in here? There's 2-3 people consistently hanging out. Is it Overland? Who is Overland? Okay, I'm going to switch out all of these pixel counts. Here we go. Okay, so that looks good enough on our pixel counts. The next thing that I want to do is I want to start labeling all of these single lines, because really quickly this list of single lines here is very confusing, which one's which. So I like to follow this organization tool when I'm labeling my props, is that if it's an outline, I'm going to start with outline, and then I'm going to specify whether it's a horizontal or a vertical. Vertical being straight up and down, horizontal being this, or a diagonal. So this one is going to be outline, it's going to be vertical, and then I'm just going to say far left. The third identifier in there is just something that I can understand when I'm creating groups, or I need to, you know, find this in a list of props later on. So now I'm going to go through and label all of those. Outline, horizontal, small, peak left. And then I could probably even just copy this. Outline, horizontal, small, peak right. Outline, horizontal, I got large, peak, left. Large, peak, right. Isn't this the best part of a live stream? Think of all of the people right now that are going to be watching small, small, what would that be called? Small out jog? I don't know. I guess I'll understand that. Think of all the people that get to watch this later on that don't have to watch me actually click through all of these. And also, what is wrong with you guys watching me click through all of these? But I guess, so for me, it's funny, I was talking to my neighbor. This is going to be garage peak left. Talking to my neighbor yesterday, and she was saying that she has ADHD. And I'm like, yeah, me too. So we started talking about all of the things that we have to do because of our ADHD. And one of those things is not remembering the point of this story. Outline, vertical, garage, left. Oh. Nope, I lost it. Oh, I do remember now. All of you crazy people watching me type in all of these things or just listening to me ramble on. We're talking about how we always have to have some sort of noise in the background. Garage door, top. And one thing that I love putting on in the background is streamers. And a lot of the time streamers will do exactly what I'm doing now, is that they record a live stream with the intention of later on cutting down that video and uploading YouTube videos, which if you're just joining is what we're doing today, which is why it's a little bit of a different stream than normal. But we were talking about, I love having just pointless noise on in the background. So a lot of times I will end up just putting on streamers in the background that are hours long and not really paying attention to it. It's just noise at that point. Garage door left. So at any time, if you're watching right now, this will all be on a nice, concise, that's gotta be a word, video, garage door right. Video later on. Oh, did I not? I thought I labeled that one. Outline, vertical, garage, left. Because the other ones are garage door left. This one's going to be garage right. Yeah, this is perfect music for this terrible thing we're doing. Single line. I thought I did this one. Outline, vertical, far left. And this one, outline, vertical, left of front door. I'm sure somebody has some method that they do on their display that is way better than what I am doing. But I think the key is that as long as you know what you're doing, then you can come back to it. So now that we have everything labeled, what we're gonna do is start working on other outlines. So as I'm looking at this, I could do this door outline, which may end up creating a lot more movement space in my sequences later on. The more outlines you have on your house, I would say the more exciting or dynamic your show can be. We can also outline the windows here. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. So I am going to put an outline on these 3 windows. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you can see I'm not being really picky about these lines. Mainly because this is a video and I want to go quickly, but you can be picky. You can be as picky as you want. Later on, when you actually are connecting this layout to lights, it is important that these lines are nice and clean, but for right now, we're just trying to convince people that we need to buy a light show. So yeah. Okay, I got my outlines. I'm gonna label them real quick. Oh man. Window 1, horizontal. Horizontal, let me keep consistent. Horizontal top. And then we're gonna copy this to here. Horizontal bottom. Okay, let's just do all the horizontals. And we'll change this to 2. Window 2, horizontal, top. Window 2, horizontal bottom. Window, nope. What am I doing? Window 3, horizontal top. Window 3, horizontal bottom. I think this is the point where I start going crazy because I'm on a live stream and feel the need to be talking, even though the ultimate video that will be produced after this, this will all be sped up. Vertical right. Window 2, copy, vertical left. Window 2, vertical right. 3, I love this audio track, whatever this is. If you were ever interested, all of the music that I do on my streams is by an artist called Harris Heller. And he releases a bunch of music that is royalty free. So you can use it on streams without being copyright struck. Okay, save this out. Take another sip. Where do I want to go next? So, I always start my thought processes with so. Once you've created once you're happy with your layout, we're gonna start putting things into groups, and you can do this at any step in the process. I just want to teach you right now how to create groups, and then we will continue with adding more props in just a second. So to create groups, what you can do is draw a box around all of your props, and it will select all of them, and you can right click and select create group. It will ask you to enter a name for your new group, and I will call this all house. And now it has on this left side created this group right here called All House. And within All House, you can see we have all of our outlines that we've just done. Groups are really important because most sequencers sequence to groups. So when you download a pre-made sequence, you're going to download a sequence that has a bunch of effects laid onto groups. All house, house outline, yard props, arches, whatever the props could be in the group. Whatever... how do I say this? Whatever props that you have in that group will then be affected by the effects that are put on top of that group. So let's say that in my sequences from Light Show 101, I have 6 arches in my yard, and I've put effects on the group of arches that are affecting each individual arch within that group. But in this layout that we're working on, we're only going to put in 4 arches. So the beauty of groups is that so the amazing thing about groups is that even though this layout only has 4 arches and the sequence that I was about to import has 6, the group doesn't care what's in it. It's just going to apply the effect to everything within the group. And that's really the power of X-Lights, is that I can create a sequence and then someone else can download it that has a totally different layout that I do, and it will look very similar. It will map all of the effects to whatever props you have in your yard. So as we're looking at our layout, we can start going here and creating just horizontal groups. And that was the great thing here about labeling outline and then horizontal as the second. And I want to show you a way that you can add things into groups in a different way. I can right click here and do, or actually, let me just select 2 horizontals, and I'm going to do create group from selections and enter a new name. We're going to call this horizontals. And then in this bottom left window, when I select the horizontals group, what I have is a little bit of a different looking window where I can select to add or remove props within this horizontals group. So you can see we have these 2 horizontal lines that we selected to originally create the group, but we have a bunch more horizontals that we want to add in. So I can select one horizontal, hold Shift, and select the rest of the horizontals in there, and then click this little right arrow to put them into the group. And the right arrow will put it in, and then let's say, I put a vertical in there. I can hit the select that one prop, and then select the left arrow and put it back onto the left side. The other horizontals that I need are all these window horizontals, so you can also hold Control and select or deselect individual props here, and then we're going to move those in. And then I'm also going to select all these. I can select them in the visualizer as well with holding Control. Now select all of the verticals. Right click and select Create Group and call it Verticals. And now we have a verticals group. And when I'm selected on the group, I can see in yellow the ones that I have selected. So now we have verticals, horizontals, and all house. So let's start talking about what else do we add to our layout. The outline, easy. Everyone's got edges on their house that we can put lights on. But what else do I put in the yard? But what else do I put in the yard? One rule that I really like to follow is that if you're going to put props in your yard, try and keep them in groups of 8. And you can do a display with just an outline. You can do a display with just an outline and 2 props in your yard. But when you start adding props, when you start the initial design process, try to add 8 props. And the reason is because in a musical scale, you have 7 different notes, and then the 8th note which is the octave of the first note. So a lot of the times when I sequence songs, and especially one of the big sequencers in the industry, Magical Light Shows, they love, and I love, to create melodies on the props. So if we have 8 props to work with, then we can create full melodies up and down using the whole scale of whatever key we're in. The other thing that I really like to add is singing faces. Singing faces are props that have a lot of different pixels in different mouth positions that we have created lyric tracks within X-Lights that can actually simulate that singing prop to make it look like it's singing or talking. It can be a little corny sometimes, but I personally really like them. I think they're cute. I think it's a great addition to our hobby. You also have arches. Arches are cheap. They're not a lot of pixels, and they create a lot of really cool movement and dynamic within your show. And matrices. Matrices are a lot of money, a lot of controller space to control those, a lot of power because it's a lot of lights, but you can fill a lot of space on your house very quickly with a matrix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you now how to add a prop. And there's a really cool feature in that you can create custom models, or you can download custom models from vendors that have created certain Coro cutouts. So you can create this. So if you click this down facing arrow where it says create new download, and then you draw a box, it will bring up this window that has a ton of different models that are pre-made from manufacturers. So any of these models, you can go to the manufacturer's website and actually buy the Coro cutout to push pixels into. One of my favorite manufacturers is Boscoyo. I try and stay like 98% Boscoyo. I just love some of their designs. A few of their designs are the fancy 3-flake chroma snowflake. It's got to be fancy, and it's got to be the 3-prong. But where am I going with this? I don't even want to talk about that. One of my favorite is Boscoyo, and I'm going to use mainly or really only their props for this layout. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Halloween layout. So I'm going to look down in this list for don't want snowflakes. We could do singing elements. Or, okay, there's a whole nother section here for Halloween. So let me close Christmas. Here we go, Halloween. Singing elements. What I want is I want like an actual outline, not just a scary face. So let's see if they've got like a pumpkin here. Pumpkin singing type 1, 2, 3. Yeah, these look great. Let's do these. Oh, MLS. These are the new Magical Light Shows ones. So MLS, pumpkin singing type 1. I'm going to insert this model here. Ooh, look at that. Now we've got a model. So the thing about models is that they are not size specific, meaning I can drag this to be super skinny or super fat. And obviously it's not going to be, as tall as the house. So one way to really size your props well is to measure something on your house. So I know, for instance, on this house, the front door is about 80 inches tall. So when you download a prop, it will tell you how tall the prop that you're downloading is. So if I go back into singing elements here and select MLS pumpkin singing type 1, we'll see that the height is 47 inches and the width is 41 inches. So it's just a little bit taller than it is wide. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to import the second model here. So if I take this, knowing that my door is 80 inches tall and this is 47, 5/8 of this door is what we need to emulate or match to, and that's going to be just a little over half. And you can get close with this. It really doesn't have to be perfect. So let's say that that is about the size of this singing pumpkin, and that's actually a really big singing prop. So what we're going to do is we're going to match this guy roughly to the size, and if you grab these blue handles, you can move the size around. So we're going to match those sizes and then move our singing pumpkin. Actually, I want the angry guy over here. Yeah. And then we're going to relabel those singing pumpkin. Oh. Singing pumpkin and, oops, singing pumpkin 2. You have to hit enter or click on the window after you type in the title, otherwise it won't save. Okay, singing pumpkin 1, singing pumpkin 2, cool. Let's import now some spiders. So create new download, that big. Spiders, Black Widow spider, and we can see that this has a height of 23 inches. So it's going to be about a quarter the size of our door. It's probably about a quarter. And we're going to name this Spider 1, and then Control C to copy, Control V to paste, and you'll see it will auto index to now Spider 2. So I'm going to go through and put 8 spiders on the roof. Sorry, I had to drink. I had to take a drink. Okay, Spider 3, Spider 4. Here we go. Spider 3, Spider 4. Cool. We got the 8 spiders on the roof. We could even, on this one, we could maybe move all of these down and fit another spider over here. Let's, You know, I'm not in love with this spacing, but I also don't hate it. So we're gonna run with it. One thing you can do in the layout to organize or tidy up your model placement a little bit is select multiple props by holding down Control. And then whatever prop these little blue dots are over, you can snap things to that placement. So if you right click and then select Align, you can align the bottom of this prop or make all of the other props align to where the bottom of this prop is. So now if I hit bottom, you'll see those two snapped into place, and now all of these are at the same plane. I'm going to do that with these as well. There we go. Another thing that you can do is you can select multiple and you can do distribute horizontal, and what that will do is, let's say that this one was justified way over here, that will actually just distribute them evenly across your selection. So now that I have these guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all my spiders, Spider 1 through Spider 8, right click, add, create group from selections, and we're going to say spiders. Cool. Let's add some arches. Up in your toolbar window, the very first selection is create new arches. And the arches, you click and drag, and it will create however big you want your arch. This is where it helps to look up the spacing ahead of time. I'm actually going to rename that before I copy it. Arch 1. Look up the spacing ahead of time so that you know how wide this is and how it's actually going to look on your house. 2, 3. 4. You know what? Let's just say that there's 4 in here. I think that's, if we bring this, I'm just clicking with the arrow keys to move, but if we bring this centered, I kind of like the look of that. In fact, we'll even bring it down into the yard just a little bit. Yeah, that's cool. Let's also add some tombstones in here. Create new download. Once again, Boss Goyo to Halloween. We're gonna go to tombstones. Chroma stones. Look at, you got tons of different options here, but I like the rip one because there's a lot of pixels in it. Oops, I did not. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to re-download and look up the size of it again. Where is tombstones? Oh, right. Christmas, Halloween, tombstones, chroma stone, rip. Okay, so we can see here height is 36 inches, width is 23 inches. So it's going to be almost, if our door is 40 inches, then this is going to be almost half of the size of our door. So, there? Let's just say there. Close enough. And then I'm going to put 8 tombstones as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then if I select all of, oops, we're gonna, I'm sorry. Do as I say, not as I do. Name before you copy and paste. Tombstone 1. Copy, paste, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then if I select all my tombstones and then hold Control and click this first one so that it has the blue dots around it, I can right click, select Align Bottom. Nice. And then I know that I want these to cover the whole length of the grass. So now I'm gonna move that one out to the side and then select all of them and select Distribute Horizontal. And now they're all nice. And one more time, I'm gonna do Align Bottom because this right one was a little off. Cool. We have now a lot of props. A lot of props. Let's stick a random matrix. You can create new matrix, another tool up here on the garage here. And we can make this a little bit more dense. Let's just double it. 32 by 100. Wow, that's overkill. I don't think that, yeah, that's a lot of pixels right there. Ooh, man. Ooh, man. And then let's put a mega tree. You can, right here, create new tree. You can just drag and create a tree there. And then you can select, let's say it's, instead of a round tree, it could be a flat tree, a ribbon tree. Or you can do a 180 tree, meaning that you don't have anything laying on the ground behind the tree. You just have the front half of it, which is kind of preferred. I've done the 360. I used to be a 360 person. Not anymore. You can change this bottom to top ratio to make the bottom wider and make it, you know, whatever that is. Or make it skinnier. And I personally like the more skinny topped tree looks. Yeah, cool. And in this editing window, you can also change the number of strings you have. So instead of 16, let's say we have 32, lots of strings. And then instead of 50 pixels per string, we have 100 pixels per string. That's really overkill. I'm actually going to go back to 50. Or 75. Yeah, 75 looks like a good number for that tree. What else? A large house prop. So now is the point in your layout that you really want to take a look at it with fresh eyes. You may be loving what you're doing and it's 2 a.m. and you've had a couple drinks and then you wake up the next morning and hate the design. That is part of the artistic process. And what I like to do on a layout is create it and then go back and look at it and tweak it and resave it as a separate file and then go back several days later and look at both of those side by side and create a new one. The artistic process is different for everybody. And already looking at this, I realize I want something right here. I probably also want something right here. But I probably won't worry about adding too much to a Halloween display. Christmas is where you really want to go all out. And then Halloween, you know, these few props is fine. Most people don't even put up a mega tree. The Matrix is overkill. But, you know, at this point, we're just trying to convince people that we can do a light show. What I am going to do is add a large house prop in the center here. Large house props I've found lately have been one of the best focal points or like center points of a display. So literally in the center of a display, and I gotta shoot this out to Tombat George. Tombat George really started this on his Tracy house. Spiders, Mega Black Spider, Black Widow, Mega Black Widow, Mega Black Widow Spider. Oops, I did it again. So I got to really give that out to Tombat George. He started with, you know, a large house prop in the center of his display, and I have come to love that design. Just having a lot of dense pixels in the center of your display gives you a lot of options when you're sequencing. So Mega Black Widow Spider height is 47 inches. That's not as tall as I thought it was. That's as tall as the Singing Faces. There we go. That's about 47. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't hate it. In fact, I kind of want to put another one over here. No, I don't. It's fine. This, when you're designing your layout, it's important to look at balance. So if you look at this display, we're a little bit light on the pixel density. There's not a lot of props on this side of the layout, but I don't mind it as much because we have so much density over here, and then we have a lot of density in the yard down here. Another thing we could do is move this mega tree over to this side of the house, get rid of that window, but I don't hate this design right now. I may look back at it later and hate it, but I don't hate it right now. Now I'm going to go through the display and make sure that I have good names on everything. Mega tree, arches I did. This one I can call large house prop. This is matrix. And I'm also going to go through and make sure that I have groups on everything. So all of our tombstones, we're going to make its own group. Tombstones. All of our arches, we're going to make into a group. Arches. Megatree doesn't need to be a group. Another group that I need to create is an all group. So I can highlight over and select everything, right click, create group. And we're just going to call this all. And then I'm going to control select, reselect, and then control deselect this matrix. And then I'm going to create a group, all, and then in parentheses, no matrix. And what else do we need to select? Oh, okay. So in these all groups, I don't like to have my singing faces in them. So I'm going to select Singing Pumpkin 1 and 2 and remove those. All, no matrix, and then also the all group. Remove my Singing Pumpkins. Another group that's good is all house. So I can select everything here except for the singing faces and the matrix. Or actually, I think the matrix should go in the all house group because it is a house group. So create group, all house. Oh. Okay, all house is already created, so I'm going to rename the all house group to outline because if we look at that group, it is just the outline of the house, and then we can select all of these and create an all house group. Oops. All house. Awesome. We could also create a yard props group. Control select these to deselect them. Right click, create group. Yard props. I'm sure I'm missing groups, but I will find out what groups I need as I import more songs. What else are we missing here? For the 2 people watching, what am I missing here? There's got to be something in the layout that I haven't talked about. I think that's all I'm going to go over. Oh, we can talk about this. Anytime that you make a layout, anytime that you make a change in the layout, this red save button down here, or this save button down here will turn red. And that is reminding you that the layout that you're looking at, you haven't saved yet. So make sure you save often. Now, where does the file go? Now, once you hit that save button, what actually saves? Let's look into our show folder that we created earlier, and we can look into show folder. Inside this show folder, you'll now see a lot more files that weren't in there when we created it. This backup folder creates backups of your sequences. Xschedule data is something we're not going to talk about right now, but that is your playback if you're using Xschedule. But these are the most important: Xlights networks and Xlights RGB effects. Xlights RGB effects.xml is what saves everything that we just did within this layout tab. Anything that we do within the controller tab is saved into the Xlights networks file. So if you ever needed to send someone your layout, these are the 2 very important files to send them: Xlights networks and Xlights RGB effects. I think that's it with the layout tab. There's a lot more groups that we're going to have to end up playing with later on. And then we're going to have to eventually connect these props to a controller, but I ain't got time to talk about that today. So let's now jump into the sequencer tab. So in the next video, because this was a really long explanation, we're going to jump into the sequencer tab and talk about importing a sequence, creating groups specifically for that sequence, and then also how do you modify that sequence to look the best for your individual display or for this display that we just created today. So I'll see you on the next video. But for you 2 crazy people watching me right now, I'll show you guys right now because you guys are special. So you've got your layout created, you're ready to make them start flashing to music. Once we have our layout, we can get out of the layout tab and move over to the sequencer tab, and this is when things start to get really fun. The sequencer tab can be overwhelming, to say the least. There are a ton of boxes in here that you can make whatever size you want. And you can make this whatever size, or you could also like just, you know, take this box and move it completely out of where it was and snap it into another place if you wanted. So there's so many options when it comes to the sequencer tab. So let me walk you through what each individual window does so that it's a little bit less intimidating. The probably most important, or no, before we talk about the windows, let's just create a new sequence so we can actually mess with some of these parameters in here. And the way that we create a new sequence is by going to, you can either click this little new sequence button. I'm sorry, these boxes, this whole row of stuff on the top of my screen will be on the bottom? No, never mind. Never mind. Strike everything I just said. Before we talk about the windows, let's open up a new sequence so we can actually play around with all of these parameters. And I can click on this little new sequence button here. Oh man, I'm being covered by my logo again. My little new sequence button, or go to File, New Sequence. And then we can select musical sequence or animation. Animation is just a sequence without music. Musical sequence is a sequence with music. Right now I don't have a musical file, so we're just going to click on animation, and then it's going to ask you how many frames per second. I always go with 40. That's the fastest by default that you can select. You can go faster, but 40 is a good place to start. Then it's going to ask you to select a view. We'll talk about this later. All models, sure. Quick start. Let's get into this. So the very first window that you see is your layout in here. This is your house preview window, and this is the window that is going to show you what your sequence actually looks like. The big window down here is called your timeline. And if we were to have a music track in here, you would see the waveform along this bar horizontally right here. And then from left to right, we can play this little playhead, or we can select a start for our playhead. To select an individual place, you can just single click within this gray box, and then when you press spacebar, you'll start from that location, and then when you press spacebar again, it will stop and snap back to wherever you originally started. You can also click up in the ruler area and instantly jump and start playing to any location that you want. There's a lot of other options like looping or just playing a single section, but let's just talk about the basics. Everything on the left side here is all of your groups and individual props that you can add effects to. On the very top menu bar, you'll see all of these tiny little images that you probably have no idea what any of them do. But the coolest one, and I promise you, is butterfly. So it's the fourth one from the left. If you select butterfly, click, hold, and drag down, you can drag it. I'm going to drag it right over my all group. You can drag it into the timeline, and it will show that effect on all of your props. Super cool. We're finally making some good strides here. Here you can also go back into your layout and bring the brightness of your image down, which will make, and we'll save that, which will make these effects show up even brighter or even more distinctive in your house preview. So once you have an effect in here, you can hold Control and then use your scroll mouse wheel to zoom in, and you can change the length of this clip by grabbing the ends of the clip and dragging it wider, or grabbing the center of the clip and moving where it's sitting in the timeline. You can also copy, Control C and then Control V to paste another one. And then there's two different options to extend a clip. One of them is this little double arrow, and then one of them is this pointer finger. The pointer finger will stop whenever you hit a previously dropped in effect, where the little double arrow will continue past and just grab whatever effect you have. So important little moving nuances in there. Once you have an effect in here, you can, there is another window that we can start talking about, and that is the effect settings window. And the effect settings window has a bunch of different parameters in here that will change the way that this effect looks. So we can increase the speed here. So we can increase the speed here, and you'll see it starts moving very quickly or doesn't move at all. There's a lot of different options within each individual effect, and let's say that we're tired of the butterfly effect, we can actually change what effect we're looking at. So instead of butterfly, let's say we're doing a fan. Oh, we can't even see this fan. What if we bring our radius 2 out? There we go. So you can see that by playing with the different parameters in here, you can really make different effects look totally different. And on this effect specifically, you can see we have a red and a white fan going on. The second window that we're going to talk about is the color window. This is the color window, and this is how you can change the different colors that the effect is using. So if I were to uncheck red, then we'll have all white. Oh, let's say I check green, so now we have white and green selected. Or let's just select white, green, blue, yellow, cyan, magenta. You get the idea. Let's say you don't like any of these preset colors. You can click on the color box, and it will bring up a window where you can select a color that you want or define custom colors and actually choose the individual RGB values or use this color picker to select, oh yeah, I like that green. Another thing you can do on here is right click on the color and actually create different gradients to go through, and you'll see now this other color in here is fading through all of that gradient as it continues on the length of this effect. And if I go wider, the effect will go slower and our color chase will be slower. Within this color window, you also have some cool effects like sparkles. You can add sparkles into any effect. You can even change the color of the sparkles. Let's say we wanted yellow sparkles. Ooh, fancy. You can change the brightness, the contrast, and just a lot of overall editable features of this effect. Hue is great. Hue, you can actually, let's say we just had a red effect in here. I can change the hue. There's red. I can change the hue, so now it's, you know, different colors in here. Saturation, how much color is actually zero. Saturation is black and white. And then value is an interesting one in where it like will bring down, this is a bad example, but it will bring down resolution of certain things, or the way that the brightness is being affected. I think that's the best way that I could describe it. The third window that we're going to talk about is layer blending. And layer blending, I want to put right here. There we go. The third effect that I want to talk about is layer blending. And layer blending is where you add all of your fades. So if I wanted this effect, let's actually grab our butterfly and highlight over that effect so it replaces it with a butterfly. Let's say I wanted this effect to fade in over a second. Under this in transition here, I can do fade 1 second when I'm selected on this clip. And then you can see now there's a large green line at the beginning of this clip indicating that we have a transition on there. And I don't have to stick to a fade. I can do a wipe from top to bottom or change this adjustment value so it goes, you know, right to left. I can do a circle explode. I can do a dissolve, you know, a lot of different options. And then I can also do an out transition and have that a totally different fade where we have a dissolve in and then a fade out. In here, you also have rendering options. This is a lot more advanced when it comes to sequencing, but in theory with these, you can basically make one effect a mask, or basically say, whenever this effect is white, I want you to show through to the next layer. We'll talk about it later, but a lot of cool things you can do here using multiple effects. The last window, can you believe we only have one window left, is layer settings. And layer settings is kind of like your master buffer. You can take this box up here and move it to the left. So now you can see we're cutting off. So this is basically just saying, take this effect and then this is how I want you to transform it. So take the whole effect and just make it tiny and right there. Or I can do, you know, halves, left half only. This gives you a lot of different options when you're mixing effects. And then if you double click on this render, whatever, transform buffer, you double click, it will snap back to normal. You can also use roto zoom, which gives you different one rev clockwise, explode, you know, some basic automations for this type of control right here. Another Wait, let me none reset. Okay. There we go. Probably one of the most important features within layer settings window is your render style. So the best way that I can describe this is by using a single strand effect. And I'm going to drag this single strand effect here. And this single strand effect is just taking a bar and going from left to right across the screen. And we'll make this white so it's even easier to see. The render style basically says, how are you rendering this? You have this effect on the all group. So how are you rendering this? If it's default or per preview, it's basically going to take the group and put them all together and then just project the image as if all of the pixels were one TV screen. But let's say I change this to per model default. So originally we were on default. Now we're looking at per model default. So it's saying I'm going to take every single model within this group and then individually apply that effect to every single model. And you can see now every single model has that left to right thing going across it. Same thing with per model preview. There's a few other options in here, but those are the two big render styles that help. Where is this useful? This is really useful on arches. So if I go over to arches and now I have this, I'll bring the chase size up, I'll add 3D fade. So now we see these arches are jumping, where if I had this on default, it's going to go from left to right across all the arches. And then if I put it on per model default, now it's doing that effect individually on every single model. Where are we going next? Where are we going next? This is the ADHD brain in me. Do we grab another drink? I think we're going to grab another drink. We're almost done. I wish I knew who was hanging out with me, but thanks for hanging out. I will be right back. Go get another drink. I'll turn up the music for you. Crazy. It's weird, like filming a video, but knowing that, oh yeah, anybody can tune in at any time and watch you filming the video. It's just weird, man. It's just weird, man. Let me grab. Where are we going next with the lessons? We've talked about all the windows, talked about effects. Okay, so now that you understand a little bit of the basics of what these windows do, let's talk about actually importing a song so that we can see what music looks like on this house. Xlights makes that actually really simple. They have an import menu up here. So if you click on import and then import effects, what you can do is you can go to a sequence that you've downloaded. So I need to find out where, hold on. Man, I mean, I guess I don't need to hide what I'm doing. Zips, where is the monster sequence? LS, why does it say empty though? I'm going to select the zip file of monster, no models or import. Where is sequences released? Monster. Ah, there it is. So I'm going to select the zip file of Monster by Skillet, available on lightshow101.com. Shameless plug, I know. And it will pop open this window. And what this window is the import window. On the left side, you have all of the models that are... What is this? We're gonna reset this playlist. On the left-hand side, you have all of your models, and then on the right-hand side, you have all of the models that are in the sequence that you're trying to import. And what's really cool is in the newest version of Xlights, it will actually tell you how many effects are on that individual group. So if I look at the all effect, there are 193 different effects on the all group. Where on the all house, I only have one effect. A lot of people will tell you that if there's only a few effects, don't import it. This is true when some sequencers go deep into submodels. But for the most part, what I like to do is open up a separate instance of Xlights. Just open up Xlights again, and then look at the sequence that you downloaded, the sequence that you purchased or got for free from the Xlights repository, and find out what effects certain props have that you don't have in your house, because you can import those to other groups. And we're going to talk about doing that right now. So in this case, I am going to look over this and find out what groups I don't have in my display that I need to add. So for instance, blinders. I don't have blinders. I know specifically in this sequence, the blinders add a bit. They're basically floodlights that are pointed at the audience, but it would be okay if I didn't import them. And I only know this because this is my sequence, so I've looked over this a few times. I have verticals, I have tombstones, I have spiders. I need right third, middle third, left third of the houses. Matrices, I can put that. I actually have 3 different groups for matrices here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to combine all those, and I'll show you how to do that. Large house prop, I have house props every other one too. We need to create those, and that's about it. Todd, what's up? I've been watching since the beginning, just wasn't sure how to... Well, good. Hey, anything you want to ask, anything you want to talk, I love it. Thanks for saying something. It makes me feel good that someone's been watching. I can't imagine how entertaining this is at all. But thanks, appreciate it. I hope you're learning something, and hopefully these videos will turn out good. That's really my hope. So what I need to do is I need to go back into my layout tab and create a left third, middle third, and right third group. And I need to create house props every other one and house props every other 2 group. So before I import, I'm going to cancel out of this, go back into my layout tab, and I'm going to create first off the left third, which is going to be these outlines. Right click, create group, left third. This right here, all of these guys are going to be my middle third. Or actually... do I want this one? Yeah, let's add that one just for giggles. Create group, middle, third, and then all of these. Oh, I also have the outline of my matrix, or of the garage. Right click, create group, right, third. Todd, have you started creating your display yet? Have you done anything? Gotten stuff out of storage? Taken a look at your layout? After I create those, anytime this is red, I get like anxiety, so I'm gonna click save anytime that's red. It's like a little game. The next group I need to create is every other for the house props, so I'm just gonna select the top row, create group, house preops. Oh, you can't even see what I'm typing. House props every other one. And then select, create group, house, props, every other 2. Cool. Save. And that's all we needed to create. So let's go back into the sequencer tab. Did I save? I did save. Back into the sequencer tab, back to the import tab, import effects, and we'll find our thing and let this load up. Wish I could pay someone. Oh my gosh. Dude, pushing pixels is the worst. I sometimes joke with people that like I've graduated past the point of pushing pixels, but somehow every year I end up pushing pixels for somebody. But yeah, my thumbs will never be the same. So good luck. It sucks. The thing that I found the best, actually, do I have pixels in here? I don't. Where is Pixel, my dog? Is I like to put tape over my finger here. And then I like to grab the pixel. So if it's like a bullet pixel, I'll like set it on the top of my knuckle and then let the cables wrap around the edge and then grip the cables here so pixel's sticking up. And then I'll push into the prop and twist and then let go. And the like electrical tape on the finger, other people have better methods, but that is my favorite method. So we've added our new groups. Let's, what are we doing? Okay, so within this window, there's a really cool feature called Auto Map. And basically all Auto Map does is it matches like prop names between your layout and the sequence that you're importing. So if I click Auto Map, you'll see certain things like all no matrix, all house, were all spelled the same. So they are all automatically connected to whatever props I had here. Now you can see certain things here like blinder 1 through 11. I don't have blinders, so they're not going to auto connect. House outline, if I look here, I only named mine outline. So for the ones that didn't auto map, you can click and hold and drag one of these over here into whatever your prop is. So house outline, house props, every other one. I think I named that. Oh, you know, what's interesting is that I don't see it on here. And the reason for that, we'll cancel and back out. Are you sure you don't want to save? Yes. Oh, good. Yeah, sometimes it's those little things of learning groups or learning, little shortcuts on how to do things, because there's so many ways to do the same thing in Xlights, Todd. So it's like, that's where I've learned is, man, you could do it 1,000 different ways. And even the way, I think I showed like 3 different ways. Okay. Do we talk about this yet? We're not going to talk about this yet. We're going to go to edit display outlines. I'm actually going to change the order of the video. I'm going to go over render order before this stuff. Another tip here, as you're moving windows around in your display, you'll notice, like, let's say I'm just trying to keep this so I can work on it, but then when I let go, it automatically snaps into the windows. It's really annoying because now it's so tiny. If you're holding a window and then you hold Control, it will not auto snap into place and it will actually just stay on the top. So now that we have our display elements tab open, oh, it did it again. I didn't hold Control. Okay. For anybody watching in the live stream now, I'm going to explain what I'm doing in just a second. But this is kind of out of order. Import effects, LS101 monster, open. There we go. So we click auto map, drag house outline to house outline. Cool. Go to house props, every other one already mapped now. Yeah. Okay, so what do we not have? I can see on this sequence that I'm trying to import, I have matrices, matrix left, matrix right, but in my layout, I only have one matrix. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the matrix left, which has 28 effects on it. Matrices only has 2, matrix right only has 8. So matrix left, I'm going to import, or I'm going to link that to my matrix. And then I'm just going to keep note right now that, actually, Yeah, let's do it this way. How do I word this? If there are multiple groups or props that you're trying to merge into one prop, there are a few different ways you can do it. You can either open a second instance of X-Lights and then copy those effects into your current sequence, or in this case, I can go into my matrix and then click this little down arrow, and that gives me a bunch of new strands that I can mess with. Or I can go into outline horizontal garage door top, outline horizontal garage peak left, because I know that these groups are not going to have anything on them. I'm sorry, these props are not going to have anything on them because they are in a group, and that group has all of the effects on them. So in this case, I can drag this matrices down to outline horizontal garage door top, and I can drag matrix right to outline horizontal garage peak left. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little note here, and I'm going to say outline horizontal garage door top is matrix, and then same thing, outline horizontal garage peak left is also matrix. So now I'm just making a note for myself, knowing that, you know, these two effects I need to make sure I bring back to the matrix. Let's look what else is still not highlighted here, or what else is not grayed out here. Singing Pumpkin 1 outline. So if I go to Singing Pumpkin 1 and then I do the drop down, you'll see Pumpkin Outline. Because it was named Pumpkin Outline instead of just Outline in this model, it didn't link. And then I can go to Singing Pumpkin 2 and go to Pumpkin Outline and drag that in there. I also have Tombstone 9, 10, 11, and 12. I guess in the original sequence here, 9, 10, and 11, and 12, I guess in this sequence, they had more tombstones than what I currently have. I have looked at this sequence and know that 9, 10, 11, and 12 I don't need, and they are just duplicated on 1 through 8, where 1 through 8 is the best, or I'm sorry, 8 props is the best, the perfect number to have. Did I matrix R1? Okay, so I found matrix R1 is also there, so I'm going to, this one is peak right is also matrix. Okay, cool. Got my notes. I think that's everything. Other than the blinders, that's everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this mapping. You can save mappings from certain vendors. So for this, I'm going to call this LS101 mapping. And I may have another one of these for magical light shows or for showstopper sequences or from any of the vendors that you purchase from. And this just saves you a little bit of time down the road so that you don't have to manually do this every single time you're trying to import a sequence. And to load a previous one, you can select load mapping and then select the mapping that you've previously made. You can also choose to import all of or some of the timing tracks that are in the sequence. I always do all of them, and then I always import media, import model blend mode. Importing media will actually import all of the faces, images, shaders, videos, basically anything that was in that zip file that you purchased the sequence of will automatically be transferred to your show folder. So click OK again, and now we're gonna see everything come in, which is awesome. Super awesome. Before you import a sequence, I screwed up, and you should create a new sequence. So this is another one I'm gonna have to edit and move. Discard changes. We're gonna create a new sequence. We're gonna create a musical sequence. And I'm going to select, or first I'm going to find the audio for this sequence. So I'm going to open up LS101 Monster, and find the media file. No, not media, audio file. And we're going to copy and go into our new show folder. And in this show folder, I'm going to create a new folder and call it audio. And then in the audio folder, I'm going to paste our monster song. And now I can choose the audio file. And I navigate to my show folder, audio, monster, 40 FPS, quick start. Awesome. Now we can go to import effects. And now I have to go back to all of sequences released, monster, this monster, cool, load mapping, LS101 mapping. Okay, cool. Okay, now we've imported it. So now I'm going to go into outline horizontal garage door top, outline horizontal garage peak left. I know that this is one of them. Okay, I need to take a step back again. I need to talk about these stinking beat tracks and how to copy and paste by time and paste by cell and all that different stuff. Question on singing faces. What if I have 3 singing pumpkins, but the sequence wants to import has 4, or maybe only 2? That's a great question. This is where you just have to get creative. You would use the same method that I used, that I just showed, in where you import the singing face to a different group of props. A group of props that, a specific prop that you're not using or are not going to have any other effects on. And then when you go into your sequence, you could look like Singing Pumpkin 2 and 1 here. You can see here, there are spots where Singing Pumpkin 2 and 1 overlap, where like this pumpkin's singing and then the second pumpkin starts singing the last half of this phrase. Or in this one, this pumpkin starts singing the first half and this one sings the last half. So let's say you needed to merge these two, or you could look at all 4 of them and find out, okay, which face is singing the least, and I can delete. Because a lot of the times when there's 4, there's obviously the exception, like pentatonics or any kind of a cappella type of music. It's going to be a lot more complex than what I'm saying right now. But for most songs, a lot of the times the background singers are all singing the same thing, and you can kind of mimic it if you only have 2 backup singers instead of 3. But even if it is a more complex song, what you could do is just go in here manually and say, okay, here's the 4 tracks, and I only have 3. So how can I move these effects around using the arrow keys? How do I move these effects around so that I can get rid of this one singer and then have, 3 full tracks where everything is actually being accounted for in the music? Hope that makes sense. What do we need to talk about now? Okay, so something we haven't talked about in the sequencer yet is beat tracks or timing tracks, and you can see these top 3 tracks. You'll see monster lyrics, beats, layout. Each one of these, the lyric tracks, is what is actually creating the singing lyrics or the mouth movements for the singing faces. I could double click on that and collapse it because I don't really need to see it. But this beats track is what I'm going to be using quite a bit while working and trying to move some effects within the sequencer or within the timeline here. And if you select the little radio symbol on only the beats track, then when I try and drag here, you'll see everything that I'm selecting snaps to one of these red bars. This is really important when it comes to copying and pasting different effects. So up in the top left here, you'll see this paste by time or paste by cell. What this is this is either paste by time means that if I have this here and I have, you know, this second beat track that has multiple timing markers in here, and then I paste it here, it's going to be the exact same length as this effect that we copied from. Where if I have paste by cell selected and I paste it, now you see this is a lot smaller of an effect than we originally copied from, because what paste by cell does is it says, okay, you have only, or this effect spans over 1, 2, 3, 4 cells. So when I pasted it, this effect is now spanning over 1, 2, 3, 4 cells. This is really useful when copying and pasting long sections to a new section of music, because then it will follow whatever that beat track is all the way down. So as we're going to move these few effects that we put in our notepad here, I'm going to be using paste by time, and then making sure that wherever I copy from, so I've got this outline horizontal garage, looking at, okay, these sections here are all effects. So I'm going to select all of those and then Control X to cut. And then I'm going to zoom in and look at, okay, this copy mark started right on this right here. And if I press spacebar, oh, that's so loud. Let me turn that way down. There we go. That's not even going through the track, which is good. I might need to change that later. Now I'm going to set my playhead by just clicking on the waveform here at the beginning copy mark of these effects, and then I'm going to scroll and find my matrix. Where is my matrix? Here is my matrix. And I'm going, if you right click on any one of these props, you can select insert multiple layers below, insert layer above, all these different things. And if I select insert layer above, you'll see a new track was just created on this group. Or actually, matrix is just a prop. And then if I right click again, I can do insert multiple layers below this empty track now and do like 4 layers. So now I have this spot marked right here. If I press spacebar, okay, we're right here. And then I paste. And now all of those effects that used to be on that other matrix are now pasted onto our single matrix. And I can go through and do the same on the other outline horizontals, which here is one of them. So I'm going to select, cut. Oh, is it going to crash? It might crash here. So we're going to take a break. Profits and Proverbs. What's going on? Love the content. Really appreciate that. The whole goal is to get more people to spend money in this hobby. It is such a crazy hobby. I mean, if you really think about it, yeah, it's wild, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. But good to see you in here. Hopefully a lot more live streams to come and a lot more content. Man, it's still frozen. Sometimes Xlights does this to me. It's typically when it's trying to render something, and if you see in the bottom here, it says done rendering. It's trying to render, and if I click the screen again, it will go white because it's not responding, and I can force quit it, or I can just let it sit here and wait to respond, which is typically the faster, and I don't end up losing my work. So we may be on a quick little break here. Let's see if I can get Pixel in here. Pixel! Pixel! Pixel, come here. That's Logan. And that's Juno. Where's Pixel? My roommate's at work, and Pixel is the best dog in the world and will just sit by the door if I'm not home or if my roommate's not home. So I'm sure that is where she is. Any time frame on a new sequence? Hopefully soon. I have like 4 of them that are really close to being done. I'm just glad I got out Monster. I'll definitely have out more once I get to go to Angel's house, but the goal is to release them before then, which would be the end of August for Halloween sequences. The goal is sooner, but definitely by, end of September. End of September for sure. Most likely in the next week here, you'll see another one release. But Skillet, the Skillet one, I liked. I was pretty proud of. So we're unfrozen now, which is awesome. But the only problem is that I lost my mark. So I'm going to Control Z to bring this back. There we go. What is this audio track? Okay, I'm going to select all this and Control X to cut. Oh, is it doing it to me again? Okay, we're going to keep my mouse right here so that we can click it when it unfreezes. Why is it doing this? Hey, this is there's a chance this is going to be the longest live stream ever. I mean, it's also the weirdest live stream ever. This music is making me go crazy. So I was kind of thinking, oh, nice, perfect timing. I was kind of thinking of also making merch. Oh, let me mark this before. There we go. I was also thinking of making merch, not to make money off of, but because it would be awesome to have some light shirts, some shirts that say Light Show 101 on them, first off, because I want some cool Light Show 101 shirts, but also how funny would it be if, like, on the back, it's just a bunch of, like, weird sayings like, no, honey, the box from China is flowers, or it's not too early to be putting up Christmas lights. I haven't even taken them down. I don't know, some stupid, funny comments or, like, phrases. So if you think of some funny phrases while you're randomly listening to this in the background, please throw them in there, and I'll add them to the idea list. So one more to copy over here. We'll mark the beginning spot and we'll cut and go to our matrix and right there. And then I know I can delete that one because I made the sequence. But in that case, sometimes going back and watching the original sequence to find out if any of these effects overlap. In fact, actually looking at this now, I know all of these effects right here are just masked out to make strobes. So I could delete all of those and a few over here that you can't see. Okay. Now that we've imported it and changed some stuff and it's crashed several times, the most important thing is always save. So when you have a sequence, file, save sequence, I haven't saved this at all, so I'm gonna put this in my show folder, which I'm already in my show folder, and I'm gonna create a new folder called sequences, and we're gonna go into that folder, and I'm gonna monster skillet, and then in parentheses LS101, so I know who did the sequence. It was me. Prophets and Proverbs. Sorry, I saw it and then I started going on script. I'm gonna go all out. Already bought 5 or 6. Aw, thanks for supporting. Appreciate it. Glad that you like the sequences. First off, definitely gonna get the moving heads, dude. Okay, yes, moving heads are amazing. Wait several years. Wait several years. Mounting them on your roof is insanely tough. they are a mechanical device, so the chance of them breaking is high, and then they're just stupid expensive. And DMX can be a little overwhelming. Just getting the overall like networking of the controllers and the basics of the showdown, I would highly recommend Year One. But if you want to go for it, I am all for it, and I can't wait to see it. Purple Squirrel. Is that a... I'm gonna assume that's a friendly reference because because you're a trusted member. I don't know that reference. But good luck to you, Prophets and Proverbs. Can't wait to see your show. Yeah, the community out here is amazing. So X-Lite Zoom Room is your best friend if you're running into problems. And if you don't know what that is on the X-Lite's homepage right here. If you click on Zoom Meeting, you can go straight into the Zoom room, and there's always some people in there. Okay, if money is no issue, then you could totally put them to the side, the moving heads to the side, if it's too much. But I think Tom released... And anytime I say Tom, I'm talking about Tom Bet George from Magical Light Shows. Good friend, work with him all the time. What's the solar panel mounts for roofs are the best way to get like a truss up there so that you can mount the moving heads on the top. And I would highly recommend Tom's moving heads as well. You can get cheaper ones, cheaper Sharpie beam ripoffs from Alibaba. However, I know that the Color Magic ones, the ones made by Magical Light Shows, have really good components in them. They're like the best Chinese lights I've ever worked with. So that's awesome. Bayfield, you you responded and then you redacted it. So I'm kind of scared what you were referencing there. But yeah, best of luck. Can't wait to see what you come up with. Please share your videos, Prophets and Proverbs. I'd love to see it. After the Academy, writing back to Tom's. Oh gosh. Oh, is Catherine Bayfield Lights? Are your light? Oh no, is that Steve? Bro, I'm so lost right now. This is why I'm a second truly deep. It's kind of nice to break from trying to script everything I'm doing too. Oh, I do remember that reference now. Okay, it's not a dirty reference. Okay. Let's jump back into this. How do I talk about this? Okay, let's do it this way. So now that we've moved a lot of our effects around and we have the song imported, when we take a look at it, we can notice that things look good, but there's still some weird issues looking through the sequence. And the reason that it's not perfect yet is because of render order. Now, render order is one of the things that I see. Render order is the most common problem that I see with new people playing with X-Lights. So if you don't know about render order, try and grasp this concept. The best way that I can think to explain render order is one of those old like transparent slide projectors. Let me pull up a picture of it. Transparent. Oh, it is Steve. What's up? Stevie P. The lead sequencer for Magical Light Shows. What's going on, my guy? Nice of you to grace us with your presence. Transparent projector. That's, yeah, this. Oh my gosh. Do you guys, this picture, pull it up. Oh, yeah, okay. Do you guys remember these things? Okay, this is the best way that I can think to describe render order in X-Lights. So if you think about these transparent projectors, transparent slide projectors, I don't know, they're dinosaurs. To create an image, you'd have to lay down a transparent sheet of paper, and then you take an expo marker or whatever and draw over that slide. Now let's say that I drew on that slide, and then I took another transparent and I put it over the top of it, and I drew on top of that. And then I took another layer and I put it on top of the slide and I drew on top of that. Anything I draw on the very top layer is going to hide anything on the bottom layers of those transparent papers. So if you think, whatever the top level of this transparent projector stack is the most important. It is the one that is going to be rendered last, the thing that you are going to see at the forefront of whatever this old school projector is projecting, and whatever's on the bottom is kind of going to get lost by whatever's on the top. So thinking of it in those terms, Xlights renders in two different ways. The first way is on, where is Xlights? The first way is on individual layers within a prop. So on this matrix, I have 7 different layers. And remember, if you right click insert layer below, that's how you create more layers. So on this on this section of the sequencer, so on this area of the sequencer, the different layers will render from bottom to top, meaning this very top row here is the most important layer. Let me give you an example. If I take a why is that red? Huh. Okay, let me put it on the mega tree. Huh. This is strange. Oh, as pixel default. Okay. Okay. I had my render style as pixel by default for some reason. Well, now, okay. So if I take there we go. If I take I'm going to restart this sentence again. So if I take a butterfly effect and put it on, let's say, layer 2 here on the matrix, give it a second to render, and now we have a butterfly effect there. And now I want to take a single line effect and put it over the butterfly effect. You can see we can see this white line now going over the butterfly effect because this single line is on the very top row of these different layers on this prop, meaning that just like those transparent slides, the single line, the white line going across, is on the top layer and the butterfly is on the bottom layer. So now let's take this one, do an arrow key down, and now it's on the bottom layer so that the butterfly, the rainbow, is on the top layer, and now we can't even see the moving line. So when you are adding effects on layers of a prop, anything that's on the top is going to be the most important. It's going to take precedence over everything. Now, where does this change? Where it changes is the render order in your master view. And the way that we find our master view is by right-clicking on any of these props in our timeline and selecting Edit Display Elements. And that will bring up our Display Elements window. Now, our Display Elements window is where we can create different views for us to see different types of props. It's also the place where we set up our master view. And our master view is what determines the overall rendering of how all of our groups and props are layered. So if we look here at our master view, this left window is going to show any props that we don't have put into the current view that we have selected. And then in the bottom right window here, it will show us all of the groups and props that we have in the selected view. We can also add in the top right, these are all of our views. We can also add a view, which we will do in a second. This one I will call, we'll just do that in a second. So master view renders from top down, meaning whatever is on the very bottom of this list is going to be rendered last. That is going to be the transparent slide that sits on top of all the other transparent slides. So we really want to put the props that are gonna, how do I say this? So when thinking about how to order your master view, you want to put the most props, the groups with all of the props in it, the all groups, the all no matrices, the tombstones groups, on the very, very top. And the reason for this is that when you add an effect to your all group, and then you add an effect to your individual spiders, so let's say you have a rainbow effect or a butterfly effect going on your house, and then you want to flash the different spiders or the different tombstones to different melodies that are going on in the music, you want to make sure that the effects that you're putting on your tombstones are rendering after the all group, so that your all group is the bottom slide, and then as you have this slide that just has the tombstone lit up, you want to make sure you see the tombstone and that the all group with the butterfly or the rainbow effect is not covering all of your tombstone flashes. So I'm going to go through this group here, and I'm going to start with, okay, my all group, and if I use these arrows, I can move them individually, single movements, or use the double arrow to move it to the top of the list. And then I know all no matrix, move it all the way to the top. And then I'm going to bring it down one because the all group has more effects than the all no matrix group. And that's pretty much all you have to do, is just any group that has more props than the other group, put it above the other group. So my house outline is going to be above my horizontals and verticals. My spiders and my tombstones, great. The only thing that are in those groups are the actual spiders and the tombstones, which are down here, so they will get rendered afterwards. And the all group also has spiders and tombstones in it, but I want to make sure the all group gets rendered before the spiders and the tombstones group. Arches, all house can be put above outline because outline has less groups in it than the all house, because all house has the outlines and the house props. Left, middle, right, third, those can sit, below your outline, but it doesn't really matter above or below horizontals or verticals unless you're sequencing both of those at the same time. Most of the times we don't. House props, every other 1 and 2 that has less props than my spiders group, which these are just every other spiders. Arches, yard props. Yard props could probably go above spiders and tombstones and arches, or just tombstones and arches. So if I select tombstones and arches and push those down 1, that will push yard props all the way up. Large house prop, mega tree, these are all individual props, so they're not going to overlap with anything, so I don't have to change the order of these at all. Once I get a final layout or final master view, what I like to do is select the master view and then select clone and just make it copy of master view and hit OK. Where this really comes in handy is when you're creating a new sequence. We'll save changes real quick. Happy Tuesday, James. James, what's up? Creating any cool light shows lately? James has, oh man, it's such a cool show. James, still, you blew my mind, your light show when I saw it. So where this comes in handy of having copy of master view is if you're creating a new sequence, you select animation or musical sequence, either way, 40 FPS, back to this selective view where we selected all models last time. If you select this and then select copy of master view and then quick start, what will happen is your main master view, if we go into edit display elements, your main master view will now be the copy of the master view, because we told Xlights, copy of master view, make that my master view for this sequence. So as long as you make this copy of master view, you can always have a good master view when you're creating a new sequence. Very, 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 very important. Man, yeah, make sure you understand this. But now that we have this done, let's open up the sequence and take a look at how it looks. And this is a second that I'll take a quick breather. Okay, open sequence. Sequences. monster skillet, discard changes because I didn't do anything to that sequence. So here it is, the monster sequence with the master view set correctly. Another thing we can do in here is we can add another group, or I'm sorry, we can add another view and call this main sequencing view. And then we can select just the groups. Middle third outline. I'm just holding control here to select multiple. Just the groups. Push those in there. Is there anything else I need? Maybe the singing faces, probably. And the mega tree and the matrix and the large house prop. Cool. And now that we have that main sequencing view made, we can select the view here to main sequencing view and have a much more condensed version of we could have a much more condensed list of our props to be able to navigate in and make any changes. We also don't have a timing track in here, so you can go to Edit Display Elements again and select a timing track and bring that into this as well, so we can maneuver a little bit easier. Now that everything's done, let's render. Up by the save icon up here, there's what looks like a little paint palette. You can select render all. Saving will also render by default. You can turn that off, which sometimes is good if your computer crashes a lot. This progress bar down here is very fun to stare at. And now we can play the sequence back. How do I do this? I have this weird thing where I'm recording this and I don't have the audio going into it. I'm going to play the audio really quietly in the background so that we don't get struck down. And then I will probably add this back later. Yeah, so let's play this. X lights, cable A. That is not coming through. X lights, headphones, cable A input. There it's coming through now. Nice. Okay, let me try that again. I just realized I left a butterfly effect here when we were explaining render order. Main sequencing view, copy of master view, main sequencing view, back to the beginning, full screen. Okay, let's take a look at this now. I'm going to leave some music on in the background. Sorry for the clash of music, but I don't want to get copyright struck. Here we go.
The secret side of me, I never let you see. I keep it caged, but I can't control it. So stay away from me, the beast is ugly. I feel the rage and I just can't hold it. It's scratching on the walls, in the closet, in the halls. It comes awake and I can't control it. Hiding under the bed, in my body, in my head. Why won't somebody come and save me from this? Make it end. Deeper than it's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I'm
Yeah, that looks pretty good. So there's some things watching it back now that I don't like, that don't look like the original sequence. And this is probably me nitpicking, but this is also the artist in me. And this is where you can take a pre-made sequence and tweak it so that it looks the best on your display. And some of the things to really focus on, there were a couple spots here, like on this part of the song, the matrix turned red, and that's because whatever this effect is right here is not linking up to this face definition that we have to now go back into our layout and set a face definition in here. And there are some things that you're gonna find that you don't, like for instance, this one did download. In fact, it should have downloaded with this. How do I change this? Download images. I guess we'll just re-download it. Miscellaneous, oogie boogie, bam. Insert face. So a lot of things should auto-connect, but they may not. But in any case, when you download a new sequence, it will automatically put those downloaded faces into your show folder. It will also bring in imported media, so videos. You can see this one has 3 different videos that are in that sequence. Sometimes you have to relink those, unfortunately. So now that we've created that new face, if we look here, okay, there we go. Now we have the face. It's not how it's supposed to be looking. There we go. So if we play this back, excellent. There we go. Now the face is in there. But other things that you want to pay attention to when you're importing a sequence is certain effects not mapping correctly. So if I were to look on here at my large house prop right here, and I look at one of these shockwaves, this is the prop that we're looking at, you can see it just looks a little bit messy, the way that this white, let's try and find a more defined, maybe in the verse. Nope. Just one of them? Can I see just one, please? Okay, we're gonna make that one disappear. This is the one we're gonna look at. Okay, so now you can see the shockwave that's going in, and when I have the shockwave selected under the effects setting window, I can change certain things about this effect to make it look better on this prop. Because on the original Light Show 101 sequence, it was on a giant custom web. But here I'm doing it on a spider. So I can bring this radius in a little bit. Radius 1 is where this circle starts. Radius 2 is where this circle ends. So if I do small 1 and big 2, you'll see it goes from center out. And if I do, a bigger 1 and a 0 on 2, it goes from out to in. So I'm going to mess around with this radius until it's really hitting the edges. Yeah, that looks cool. It looks like it's like sucking in down the legs of the spider. And then you can even mess with the width. I'm going to make width 2 a little bit bigger so it ends with a little bit more bulk in the center of that spider. Now that I think that's, good enough, what I can do is I can bring this effect. Oh, that's out of your view. I can bring this effect back to where it was, and this is the effect that I have. So what I can do is I can select all of these effects and then just select this one, control deselect, and then select this one again, the one that I just edited. And I can right click on each parameter and select a bulk edit. And what that will do is it will say, okay, I'm going to take just radius 1 and apply a value of 31 to all of your selected effects. So I'm going to go through real quick, do that to radius 2, width 1, width 2, and then I'm going to zoom out. When I know that all of these effects are that exact same effect, so I'm going to select all of the effects in the sequence and then control select one of the end ones because I know that we just updated those, and update all of these to be that. So now if we look at the beginning of the sequence, we can see this red at the beginning, it's a little hard to see on the screen, is now doing that same motion that we had on here. Another thing to pay attention to is the centering of your groups. So let's jump back into our layout tab up here. And if we select our all group, you'll see this plus sign right here, and that is where the effects are gonna center themselves. If an effect has a center, so if there's like a circular, a shock wave going out, where is that shock wave gonna emulate from in the center? That is what this red arrow is identifying, and you can change that via these center offset positions. So you see if we go down, we can hold down, or we can jump down to like minus 100. Got to go a little further, minus 120. And then I'll just manually click till we're in the center of that. And then we'll go up on our y-axis. Say 30. Let's say 50. Let's do 70. That's probably way overshooting it. Yeah, it's good enough. So negative 129.70. We can go to the next group. All no matrix. It basically has the exact same things in there. So negative 129.70. Good. All house. This one is the X is starting in a different place. So I'm just going to manually tap in that. And then let's say minus 70. Does that get us close? Minus 200? I don't know. Yeah, that's perfect. And then the rest of them don't really matter because none of the other groups are going to have an effect that necessarily needs to emulate from the center. It's really your all groups that you got to pay attention to. So I think that's it. Now you know how to create a layout on your house, import a sequence to that layout, and actually see what your light show would look like. So what are you waiting? So what are you waiting for? Download X-Lights. It's completely free. Take a picture of your house, make a layout, and then start convincing people that you need to spend a stupid amount of money on this hobby. Just like some people that were in the stream today that are just starting into this hobby field. And it really doesn't take a genius to get into it. So if you have a little bit of interest and you want to bring a bunch of joy to your neighborhood, then I would highly convince you to jump into our crazy, crazy hobby. You can follow me on Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube down below. I would love that, and love for you to join our community of, veterans and beginners alike, just bringing joy and playing with lights as adults. So I guess that's it. I think that's it for the stream too. We have gone over quite a bit of stuff today. Oh, what's up? Look at that. Look at that. My buddy bringing in. Okay, so what's up? Todd, good stuff. Nice job. Appreciate it. I would pay you to come here and help me. No. That's the fun of it. You got to learn. Cheers, Robert. Thank you. Robert is learning to be a bartender, so he has been making me some delicious drinks. And this is a celebration that we finally made some videos. So cheers. Blue Curacao and bleach. Lemon Bacardi. That was good. That was not Windex. I thought it was Windex for a second.
Yeah, I fooled you. That one was mouthwash. Let me get the real.
Right, that was just mouthwash. What are you saying about me? So, that's it for me, you guys. Literally tomorrow, I am tearing down this whole studio because I'm moving on the 31st, like 20 minutes down south to a new area closer to Denver, which will be great for all of my production and stuff like that. So, literally, I always do this. So, literally, very, very, very soon, all of this is going to be gone. Literally, maybe tonight. Tonight, I'm probably going to start tearing it down. But that doesn't mean that live streams are stopping. I'm going to edit down this video, create a bunch of short form videos to upload for all of the new people. I'm going to be continuing to work on a new sequence and hopefully have a new sequence by the time I do another live stream. So, by the second week of September. I promise I've got another live stream coming at you. In the meantime, keep playing with Christmas lights. You're already late if you have a Halloween show, so please get on it. I always end up waiting way too long to do my light shows, but you guys are amazing. You're all little lighting designers, and we just do this to bring joy to the community, to the local community, and ourselves. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just had a shot. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. We've had way more viewers than I thought we were going to. I thought it was going to be no one and just me in here babbling so that I could make it into videos later. Yeah. I guess that's it. I don't want to go, but I'm going to. Thanks for the little blue guy. It's just like the drink. All right, guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.